Look at this table. Table lamp switched off, but hot, indicating all-night working. Yesterday's diary entry, unfinished, suggests interruption or exhaustion. Scrupulously tidy arrangement reveals obsession, or points to the desk of a high-functioning sociopath. What's missing, John? It's the coffee, John. There's no coffee. Call Barry. If you need the best coffee delivered to your door, call Barry at Cafe to You. Barry's mobile Supreme Bean machine services Bingley and Ilkley, including Saltaire Station, Cottingley Business Park, Shipley, Saltaire, Salts Mill, Salts Wharf, Merchants Quay, Air Valley Business Park, Harden and Gilstead and Eldwick, and occasionally 221B, Baker Street. Cafe to You, the Supreme Bean machine. Online, on social media, and on your website. BizVox UK, giving your business a voice. Hello, this is Kevin Archer welcoming you to today's edition of Coffee Break on BizVox UK. Coming up, we have the first part of our Russian short story, The Winter Oak, in honour of the Sochi Winter Olympic Games. And we'll also be hearing from John Edwards about his alfresco business. But first of all, no stranger to the idea of providing short radio commercials. I came across the Pennine Radio first broadcast commercial. It was for the Bradford Telegraph and Argus, and perhaps it shows how radio advertising has come on in the years since that was first broadcast. Here we are, let's turn back the clock and have a little listen.
It's Bradford City All Shines.
But isn't it a new tune?
Yes, it's so you can spot messages from the Telegraph and Argus each time they're given on Pennine Radio.
Oh, I see. Do you know, I used to enjoy reading Telegraph when I lived at home.
Oh, your dad and I'd be lost without it, Sue. It's really surprising how much money you can save when you know where to find best supermarket bargains. There's always plenty of local news, births, marriages, deaths, all small ads. Oh, and very often now again, there are hundreds of articles on offer at a £5 and under.
Mum, please remind me to take a copy home tonight. I know Bill will enjoy its sports news, so there'll be something for both of us.
So there'll be something there for everybody. It always pays to take the T&A.
The Telegraph and Argus. It's all about Bradford.
Howdy, my name's John Henry Gates, and I raise chickens in Kentucky. You know my cousin Billy? He once said to me, John Henry, if you get yourself a marketing expert, it'll make all the difference to your business. If I'd had that when I was younger, my Microsoft business would have grown even faster. Well, it's too late for me now, but if you want my advice, get in touch with somebody who can help you with digital marketing. Let Ian Gentles look after your digital marketing strategies. Find out more by ringing 07511 217 984 or visit the website at iangentles.com. Hey, that's right. You tell him, boy.
BizVox UK, giving your business a voice. Now the first part this week of our short story from Yuri Nagibin, The Winter Oak, in association with Saltaire Bookshops with David Ford.
I had a shop on the main road in Saltaire, and had that for 3 years, on a 3-year lease. And every day I opened that shop, I lost money. You know, running a shop is very expensive with rent and rates and so on. So I thought, well, I have a choice. I either close the shop altogether, dispense with books, and say, well, that was a nice experiment, and it didn't really work. But it was a nice job to do for a while, or I tried to make a go of it. I've always loved books, and I've always collected books, and I've always wanted to sell books and be part of the book trade. I worked for a bookseller in London for a couple of years, many years ago. I opened a shop in Keighley for 3.5 years, back in the very early 90s, and then again here in Saltaire, of course. And Saltaire seemed to be reasonably well adapted to bookshops. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but it's here.
The Winter Oak by Yuri Nagibin. Read by Kevin Archer. piercing bell that announced the beginning of the school day had hardly died down when Anna Vassilievna came into the classroom. The children stood up in a friendly way to greet her, and then settled down in their places. Quiet was not immediately established. There was a banging of desk lids and a squeaking of benches, and someone sighed noisily, apparently bidding farewell to the serenity of the morning atmosphere. "Today we are going to continue learning about parts of speech." The class quietened down, and a heavy lorry with a trailer could be heard crawling along the road. Anna Vassilievna remembered how last year she used to worry before a lesson, and would repeat to herself, like a schoolgirl at an examination, "The noun is that part of speech, the noun is that part of speech." And she remembered, too, how she used to be tormented by a ridiculous fear that perhaps they wouldn't understand her. Anna Vassilievna smiled at this memory, pushed a hairpin back into a heavy knot of hair, and, conscious of the self-control which spread like warmth through her whole body, began in a calm voice. "The word noun is used for that part of speech which is the subject. In grammar, the subject is what we call everything about which we can ask, 'Who is this?' or 'What is this?' For instance, 'Who is this?' A pupil. Or 'What is this?' A book. May I come in?" A small figure in worn felt boots and covered in sparklets of frost that were thawing and losing their brightness stood by the half-open door. The round face was burning and as red from the frost as if it had been rubbed with beetroot, while the eyebrows were grey with rime. "Late again, Savushkin!" Like most young teachers, Anna Vassilievna enjoyed being stern, but on this occasion her question sounded plaintive. Assuming that the schoolmistress's words gave him permission to enter the classroom, Savushkin quickly slipped into his place. Anna Vassilievna saw the boy push his oilcloth bag into his desk, and without turning his head, say something to his neighbour, presumably asking what she was explaining. Anna Vassilievna was disappointed by Savushkin's lateness. It was an unfortunate mishap, spoiling a day that had begun well. She had had complaints about Savushkin being late from the geography mistress, a shrivelled little old woman who looked like a moth. Actually, she often complained of noisy classes and inattentive pupils. "The first lesson is so difficult," the old woman would sigh. "It is for those who cannot control the children and make the lesson interesting," Anna Vassilievna thought to herself with self-assurance, and offered to exchange periods. She now felt guilty towards the old lady, who was sufficiently perceptive to recognize the challenge and rebuke in Anna Vassilievna's amicable suggestion. "Do you all understand?" Anna Vassilievna asked, addressing herself to the class. "Yes, yes," chorused the children. "Good. Now, give me some examples." There was absolute silence for some seconds, and then someone said uncertainly, "Cat." "Right," said Anna Vassilievna, immediately remembering that last year the first example had also been cat. And then there was an outburst. "Window, table, house, road." "Right," Anna Vassilievna went on saying. The class bubbled happily. Anna Vassilievna was surprised by the delight with which the children named familiar objects, recognizing, as it were, their new and unaccustomed significance. The range of examples went on widening, but in the first minutes the children stuck to what was closest to them, to tangible objects, wheel, tractor, well, starling house. From a desk at the back where Fat Vasyata sat, there came a high, persistent voice. "Nail! Nail! Nail!" Then someone said timidly, "Town? Town, that's good," said Anna Vassilievna approvingly. And then the words began to fly. "Street, metro, tram, film. That's enough," said Anna Vassilievna. "I see you understand." Rather unwillingly, the voices fell silent. Only Fat Vasyata went on, muttering his unacknowledged "Nail." Suddenly, just as if he had woken up out of a dream, Savushkin stood up in his desk and shouted out in a ringing tone, "Winter oak!" The children began to laugh. "Quiet," said Anna Vassilievna, banging the table with her hand.
Winter Oak, Savushkin repeated, noticing neither the laughter of his schoolfellows nor the teacher's admonishment. He did not speak as the other children had. The words were torn out of his soul, like a confession or a joyful secret which he couldn't help from spilling out of his heart. Not understanding his strange excitement, Anna Vassilievna hid her irritation with difficulty and said, "Why winter? Just oak." "No, not just oak. Winter oak, that's the noun." "Sit down, Savushkin. This is what happens when you're late. Oak is a noun, and we have not yet come to what winter would be. Kindly come and see me in the staff room during break." "There's Winter Oak for you," someone sniggered from a back desk. Savushkin sat down, smiling at his own thoughts, and not in the least perturbed by the teacher's threatening words. "Difficult boy," thought Anna Vassilievna. The lesson continued. "Sit down," said Anna Vassilievna when Savushkin came into the staff-room. The boy sank into an armchair with pleasure and bounced up and down on the springs a few times. "Kindly explain why you're consistently late." "I really don't know, Anna Vassilievna," he said, spreading out his hands in a grown-up way. "I leave home an hour beforehand." How difficult it is to get at the truth in the very simplest matter. Many of the children lived much farther away than Savushkin, and yet none of them spent more than an hour getting to school. "You live at Kuzminki?" "No, by the sanatorium." "Are you not ashamed to say that you leave home an hour before school starts? It takes 15 minutes to get from the sanatorium to the road, and then not more than half an hour to walk along the road." "I don't go along the road. I go the short way, straighting through the forest," said Savushkin, as if this circumstance surprised him. "Not straighting, straight," Anna Vassilievna corrected automatically. She felt sad and confused, as she always did when faced with a child telling lies. She was silent, hoping that Savushkin would say, "I'm sorry, Anna Vassilievna, I was snowballing with some boys," or something equally simple and innocent. But he only looked at her with big grey eyes, and his expression seemed to be saying, "There now, it's all been explained. What else do you want of me?" "It's a pity, Savushkin, a great pity. I shall have to speak to your parents." "I've only got a mother," said Savushkin, smiling. "I'll have to call on your mother." "Oh, do come and see her, Anna Vassilievna. My mother will be pleased." "Unfortunately, I've nothing to say that will give her any pleasure. Does your mother work in the mornings?" "No, she's on the second shift, from 3 o'clock. "Well, that's good. I am free at 2. When lessons are over, you'll take me home."
You're listening to Coffee Break on BizVox UK.
We think we've got a great business idea that will work anywhere in the country. If we can do really well in Bradford, in a recession, people in Manchester, Birmingham, London should be able to do a lot better than us. I mean, apart from having what we feel is a great sound business that can be duplicated anywhere in the country, and of course that's going to be profitable and beneficial for us, we just want to help people. We really want to see people succeed, and we want to see people who have either been made redundant or are a bit of a dead end in their own job start something that is a future for them and maybe their children. That really is our drive. That really is our motivation more than anything.
That's all we have time for today. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you'll join us next time for more Coffee Break with BizVox UK, giving your business a voice.